Hi there. Okay, so you got the whole familia coming over for lunch, right? And you're like, oh, I have to cook all the time. Now I've got to cook for a huge number of people. Here's the easy way to do it. Do what is the classic El Paso Big Familia get-together meal, brisket. Super easy to make, although a lot of people I know are like, I don't know how to make brisket. I don't know how to make it good. I don't know how to make it tender. I don't know how to make it taste good. So here's how you do it. This is what you're going to need. You're going to need 1/4 to 1/2 pound of brisket per person. So when you're at the grocery store, think about how many people you've got coming. Think about how many sides you're going to make and either go 1/4 pound to 1/2 pound. Personally, I would go 1/2 pound because this is such a fantastic brisket. They're going to eat it like crazy. So 1/4 to 1/2 pound of brisket per person. And then you're also going to need just barbecue sauce in a bottle. You can make your own, but they have it at the store. So just buy one. Whatever flavor you like, it's totally up to you. You know, they have honey barbecue and they have, all these other crazy barbecue sauces. Whichever one you like, that's the one you get. And about 1 cup to 1.5 cups of wine. Depends on how much you're going to be making, okay? So we're going to put together a brisket. We're going to throw it in the oven. This is the kind of thing that you can make 2 to 3 days in advance, and it gets better. So really, honestly, before you're going to feed a bunch of people, make this 2 or 3 days in advance and then throw it in the fridge because it's just going to get better. So let's get to making a brisket. Okay, so you're dealing with barbecue sauce here. Barbecue sauce caramelizes great, but it burns like the daylights. So unless you want to take out a hammer and chisel to clean out whatever it is that you're making this brisket in, spray the daylights out of whatever it is that you're going to put the brisket in. I always spray twice. You spray initially, spray whatever pan you're going to use, okay? Spray that first. And then you want a good amount of aluminum foil. You're going to love me for this. It works for everything. Chicken, roast, whatever it is that you're going to put in the oven, spray first and then put your aluminum foil down and then spray it again. Not a whole bunch, just a little bit. Okay. Here's your brisket. Okay, in the stores, what you get a lot of is untrimmed briskets, and they're huge, okay? You don't want an untrimmed brisket. You're paying for an awful lot of fat. Ask the butcher, and they will do it at virtually any grocery store, to trim the brisket. Ooh, you know what? Let me put these sleeves up. Ask the butcher to trim the brisket because you want a little bit of fat, but you don't want to pay for 1.5 pounds of fat. And yes, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but you're paying for the meat, not the fat, okay? Here's the other thing. If you'll notice on brisket, you've got a very, very defined grain, okay? So you've got the muscle of the meat it's got like stripes. When you cut this, you are not going to cut with the stripe because then you just get basically strings of tough meat. You're going to want to cut against the strings, okay? Just like that. That is how you get a super tender cut of brisket. Okay, on the other side, you see a lot of fat, right? It's not a lot. See how thin that is? But you need that fat because that is flavor. But if you get an untrimmed brisket, you get a ton of fat. You don't need all that fat. Okay, so we're not going to do anything to this. All we're going to do is put together a little bit of a sauce. And the sauce is just a little bit of barbecue sauce. Excuse me. There's no dignified way to do this. I'm sorry, but there just isn't. Okay, so this is, let me see here. This is a 5.5 pound brisket. About a little bit less than a whole bottle of barbecue sauce, okay? This is some red wine. Don't use red wine that you are not willing to drink because it will taste like crap, okay? You have to use a good red wine. Now, having said that, don't go out and buy a $30 bottle of wine to cook with. just get a bottle of wine that you would be willing to drink on a normal day-to-day basis. And I'm going to put in like 1 cup, 2 cups, and mix it together. And this is literally all you're going to do. After this, we are going to throw this into the oven at 325. Yes, it's very low, but you need this to go low and slow for a very long time. So for this 5-pound brisket, this is going to be in the oven for about, I would say about 5 hours. Low and slow, 325. Don't get crazy, okay? I know you're going to say, but it's meat. But it's meat that needs to cook for a very long time because that's the cut of meat it is. Some cuts of meat you can flash fry real fast. Other cuts of meat need that low and slow. Don't be tempted to put more liquid in this because what will happen is you'll boil the meat and it will be gross. This is all you need. You just need a little bit of barbecue sauce, a little bit of wine. Now, having said that, this is not going to be barbecue brisket. The brisket and the wine and the barbecue sauce are just going to like come together to make a delicious sauce. You're not going to be able to say, "Oh, this is a barbecue meal," because it really isn't. Trust me on this. Try it this way. You will love it. You will never do it any different. And then just pour it all on top. Dun-ta-da-da. There's a little bit left in the bowl. Little bit of water. Yep, fingers. Sorry, I forgot a spatula. And then just pour that off to the side because you want that barbecue sauce to stay on top of the brisket. And then here is the most important part. You want all of that deliciousness to stay in the pan. You don't want this to boil out. You don't want this to steam out. So cover it really, really tightly because you want all of that deliciousness to stay in the brisket. Be real careful because this gets very sloshy. And seal it. And in 5 hours, you're going to have the most amazing brisket you've ever made. Let's put this in the oven. Okay, along with your brisket, make a delicious dessert. This is Millionaire Pie. And it's just, I can't tell you how amazing this stuff is, okay? So here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a cup of heavy cream. I know, this is not low fat by any stretch of the imagination. Don't use half and half. It has to be heavy cream. You also need, and this is for 2 pies, you also need a whole stick of butter, softened. I told you this was not low fat. You also need a prepared graham cracker crust, a couple of them, because this is for 2 pies. And then you're going to need 2 cups of powdered sugar. You're going to need a couple of splooshes of vanilla. And then you're also going to need some cut up pineapple, drained, and you're going to need some pecans. And let me tell you something. This stuff is amazing. I would say probably make this once every 6 months because you're going to dream about this stuff, but it is so seriously caloric. Okay, here we go. So here's what you're going to do. You've got your 2 cups of powdered sugar. And of course I'm wearing black pants because, we want to make sure that you see all the powdered sugar. And then you're going to need a cup of heavy cream. Don't use half and half. I know you're going to be tempted to because you're going to be like, well, maybe I can use half and half and it'll be less caloric. It won't be as good. Use heavy cream. Okay, heavy cream. And then you're going to have, I forgot to open this up. Oh, man. Okay, don't tell anybody. Okay, then you're going to need, this is like real vanilla. Use good vanilla, please. Couple of squirts. I would say in total, a couple of tablespoons. It's so good. Okay, let's whip this up carefully because all that's going to happen is you're going to make a colossal mess, okay? Because the powdered sugar gets everywhere. Wow, yes, it makes a huge mess. Be ready for it. Okay, once you make the huge mess, turn it up, because you're going to be whipping the whipping cream. And it takes a minute, so be ready. It takes a bit for it to whip up. Let's put in the butter. Like I said, this is not a low-fat dessert. Okay, now, whew. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put some pineapple chunks in here. Make sure that they're as drained as you can get them. Okay. And this is going to give a really nice texture to the pie. This is a whole can, by the way. And these, sometimes you see Millionaire Pie with crushed pineapple. I prefer the pineapple chunks. I just think it's just a better flavor. Okay. And then we're going to throw in some pecans. And these are not chopped pecans. Well, they're kind of pecan halves. And again, this is just because I like the texture better. It's totally up to you what kind of pecans you want to use. Now, having said pecans are pretty traditional. So if you don't like pecans and you want to use like walnuts, okay, you can if you want. And then just fold in. Try not to disturb the cream too much, but don't be freaked out about it. Just fold everything in. Look at that. Oh, yumminess. This is a super rich pie, and one regular size pie crust will easily make 8 slices of this pie. Ho ho ho. Okay, let's put this into a pie crust. Okay, before you put it in the pie crust, taste it. You're the cook. OMG. Try not to eat this all by yourself, okay? Just put it in that prepared pie crust, and you're going to refrigerate it for a couple of hours. Overnight's better, but if you've only got a couple of hours, that's good too. Now, if you want, you can use the remaining bit of your heavy whipping cream to make some more whipped cream to put on top and decorate it really nicely. And well, you know, it's extra whipped cream. You can never go wrong with extra whipped cream. Just kind of put it in. Look how pretty that is. Wait till you taste this. It is so fantastic. Everybody loves pie. Now we're going to make a side dish for the brisket. It's coleslaw, and it's fab. Let's go put this in the fridge. Okay, so we have our brisket in the oven, and we have our Millionaire Pie in the fridge. You need a side to go with that brisket. Now, the reason why coleslaw is such a traditional brisket side is because the brisket usually has some sort of, sauce to it, so you need a little something to cool it down. Coleslaw is the perfect thing, and it's super easy to make. Now, this particular coleslaw doesn't have a real heavy dressing to it because I don't dig that. But if you do, put way more dressing on it than you want, than I'm going to put on mine. So here's what you're going to need. You're going to need about 3/4 to a whole head of cabbage, shredded. Super easy to do. I've put in some carrots just because, well, it's nice color. I'm not a big fan of carrots. If you love the carrots, put way more in than you want to. I've also put in an entire can of crushed pineapple with the juice because it's going to add a little bit of acid that every coleslaw needs. And then about, I would say maybe a 1/4 cup of very well diced onion because you need a little bit of a kick to the coleslaw. Now here's the good thing about coleslaw. Make it the day before, make it a couple of days before, because the longer it sits, the better it tastes. And the reason why you use cabbage is because it can stand up to all of that sauce and not wilt and get yucky. So let's make some coleslaw. Okay, so I've got a bunch of cabbage already shredded. It's really easy to shred cabbage. Just cut it like this, cut it again in half, and you're going to go against the grain of the cabbage, okay? And then all you're going to do is just very thinly slice. Protect that one. Save it from the floor. Just very thinly slice your cabbage. And that's how you shred cabbage. It's really easy. Now, if you have a food processor, you can just throw that in the food processor with the shredding blade and do it really fast. It doesn't really take that long. I don't see any sense of messing up a food processor to do it. But I did that with the carrots, so if you want to do it with the cabbage as well, you can. It's just as easy to do it either way. Okay. Let's get that in here. Okay, so in here, we already have the can of crushed pineapple with the juice. I've got about a cup of shredded carrots, and I've got just about a 1/4 cup of pretty finely minced onion. And then put in your cabbage. And then you do have a little bit of acid with the pineapple, but you're going to need a little bit more. This is white wine vinegar. It's so good. I've also used champagne vinegar before. I've used plain vinegar before. Any kind of light vinegar you can use. And give it a couple of tablespoons, maybe 3. And then lots and lots of recipes call for mayonnaise or, something like that. I like ranch dressing, so I use ranch dressing. If you like mayonnaise, use mayonnaise. Depending on how much your family likes their coleslaw to be a lot of dressing or a little bit of dressing, that's how much you put. It's really tough to tell you how much to put in because it's totally by taste. I don't like a lot. I'm the one that's cooking. I don't put a lot in. I would say maybe a cup and a half. And then stop because you can't take it out once you put it in. So mix this together. This would go easier if I had another implement. Do the stir fry method. It's a lot easier, gets it mixed a lot better. Look how pretty that looks. And the good thing about coleslaw is you really can make it a couple of days in advance because the longer it sits, the longer it gives all of these flavors a chance to get to know each other and marry a little bit. And it makes it taste a lot better. And look how pretty that is. It's going to look so pretty on your table. Everybody's just going to love it. And then they're going to snarfle it down because it's so good. And see, this is not a very heavy dressing. So I would say that was probably about a cup and a half of ranch dressing. And that's plenty for me. I don't like a whole bunch of dressing on my coleslaw. And here's the other thing. That pineapple, it makes it taste so good. Now, I happen to have some crushed pineapple. A lot of times I use chunks of pineapple because you get that nice little burst of pineapple-y flavor. But this particular time, I only had shredded. It's totally up to you. If you don't like pineapple, don't put pineapple in. If you don't like any fruit at all in your coleslaw, don't put it in. But you can put all kinds of stuff in. This is just a template. You could put in raisins. I I'm not a big fan, but you can do that if you want to. You can put in any other kind of fresh fruit. Lots of people put in apples. I've put in apples before. It's very good. Just kind of mix it up the way your family likes it. Let's taste. I love this stuff. It's so good. Oh, it's got the little acidy hit from the white wine vinegar and the pineapple. So good. Okay, let's have some brisket. Let's plate, let's eat. Okay, you have to make a meal for a bunch of people. Throw brisket in the oven. Well, this is what you're going to end up with. Look at this. Nice and tender. Oh, and so good. Remember, cut against the grain. This is so fantastic. Who needs a fork? Cut against the grain, because that way you don't end up with little weird strings of meat. Oh my God. Oh. Here's the other trick. Cook it the day before or a couple of days before. About an hour before you're getting ready to put it on the table, take it out, cut it against the grain, put it back into the juice that you cooked it in, and then put it back in the oven to reheat at about 300. It takes about 40-45 minutes. And then turn it off the last 15 minutes, and then take it out and uncover it, because it will soak up all the remaining juices, get so tender, so amazing. You are not going to need barbecue sauce. This is not barbecue brisket. It's just fabulous brisket. And you're going to be making it all the time. It's so, so good. Coleslaw. I know we already tasted this earlier, but you can never taste it too often. Oop, there we go. So crunchy. Not real heavily sauced. If you like more stuff on your coleslaw, put it on. I'm not a big fan of real heavily sauced coleslaw. But if you are, you can. Don't like pineapple? Don't put it in. Put something else in. So good. Okay. I put some more whipped cream on top of the Millionaire Pie. Because, you know, why not, right? I mean, it's already got heavy whipping cream and butter and everything else in it. Oh, so good. Oh, man. I wish you were having some of this. You can. All you got to do is cook at home. It's so good. And you know what? It's just like that. And I'm going to go eat. See ya.